Okay, everyone, welcome to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today I'm doing a little bit of a brand showcase from the brand Wise. They're a Thai watch brand offering a blend of high quality and affordable priced pieces designed and hand assembled in Thailand. And I have reviewed their pieces, a few of them, a handful, on the channel previously. But honestly, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of revisit just because, judging by the comment section on, plenty of my other videos, I feel like everything that people ask for, like the brand Wise is kind of doing right now at a very, very high level. So, of course, I'm looking at the Adamascus line. You're looking at the AD8 Diver and the ADX GMT. And these are absolute standouts within their space. Pricing wise, these have crept up into kind of their more full retail expected pricing, with the Diver being at around $860 at the time of recording and the GMT at $930. But I will say, well worth it. I mean, unless you are just like anti the aesthetic or the branding or the country of origin, there's really no reason why, honestly, these shouldn't cost this much, if not should probably cost double or triple, to be quite honest, just in terms of execution. If Longines produced these models to this level of quality in terms of the fit, finish, and attention to detail, people would say Longines is stepping their game up. And they're coming after Tudor. That's how finely constructed these are. And even when you think about that, right, it's like the level of attention to detail. It's also, even they got the materials. I mean, they're using 904L stainless steel, guys. The stuff behind oyster steel, which is, Rolex charges a pretty premium for that. And here they do take full advantage of that 904L luster in terms of the high polish on these pieces. So, bit of a long intro, guys, but I did want to, again, just revisit these pieces, revisit this brand, just because, again, I feel like people are kind of calling for these watches, calling for brands to do what this brand is doing. So I thought, hey, why not make a video for those who are looking for them to find it. So with that said, let's go and zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, now, again, just revisiting the Wise brand, just because it's, I just feel like they're doing what the people are asking for, but there's just not enough attention on this brand. And there are some brands that, are constantly doing great things, but they're also constantly kind of being spoken about and promoted and prompted up. So I feel like Wise is definitely one of those underappreciated brands. And one of the nice things is I've even met the team from Wise, not in Thailand, but I've met them out at, at some of the watch shows, and they're just such kind, grounded, and grateful folks that, again, why not? I have some of their watches. I might as well talk about them, even if it's revisiting them for a segment like this. So we have, of course, the dive watch versus the GMT. I mean, they're not really competing, but there's so many people that are like, hey, they want their everyday watch to be, let's say, a dive watch or a GMT. Let's start off with the diver, which I think is going to be the more versatile choice. And my goodness, is it quite impressive. So this is the AD8 model, and it's pretty much their version of a premium automatic diver, offering a slim case profile, full 904L stainless steel construction, and then, of course, this beautiful 904L bracelet featuring a toolless micro-adjusting clasp. Let's just jump right into that clasp. It's spring-loaded, guys, similar to what you might find in a Tudor T-fit, and look at all those points of adjustment. This is very, very nice, very slim clasp, very slim links as well, and that's extremely slim profile on this watch. It is absolutely stunning. And in this colorway, yes, a bit more monochromatic, but it does have some standout features like that geometric wave pattern dial, which again, it adds a little bit of uniqueness, while still, of course, I think feeling quite versatile, especially in the monochromatic layout. So you have a 120 click rotating bezel, unidirectional, ceramic insert, fully loomed and indexed, screw down crown nicely there. Of course, the issue with a watch this beautiful and glossy and high polished is you're going to see the fingerprints. So I'm going to have to, once in a while, just take this off camera here, wipe it back down from time to time, dust it back off, and yeah, just to enjoy the looks here. So this is a watch that if I was starting my own micro brand, this is the type of watch that I would be making. I would probably only add some level of hardness coating, which isn't for everyone. And if you're using 904L, it's maybe a little silly to cover that luster with a hard coat. So I can understand why they wouldn't do that. Me personally, again, like that's how nitpicky is that? Like everything else is, it's slim, it's handsome, it's contemporary, while still feeling quite familiar without being any level of an homage, which I can absolutely appreciate. Inside, you're going to have the Miyota 90-15 movement, 42-hour power reserve, beating at 4 hertz or 28,800 vibrations per hour. You have that display case back that you guys saw. We have the geometric wave pattern dial. We have the, you can see the date there at 6 o'clock. Very nice. And of course there are, there's full reviews of each of these watches. 200 meter water resistance, 20 millimeter lug width, this gorgeous 3-link here, guys. Screw pin construction, mild taper. I might change that. I might say I'd go for a more traditional taper. This taper is a bit mild. But again, it's so thin to where for balance wise, in terms of the way that it feels, I have no issues with it. I will say the way that it looks, it might, I think maybe it could improve from just a slightly deeper taper there. But man, this thing's gorgeous. And that is just, the tip of the iceberg, guys. Check this out. This is their ADX. True GMT or Flyer GMT. It's their version of a premium automatic traveler's watch GMT. High level execution to match its high level specs and impressive 904L stainless steel construction. 40 millimeters in diameter versus the 41 that we had here. This is 11.5 millimeters thick. This is going to be 12.6. 47 lug to lug. This is about 47.5 lug to lug. So footprints aren't too far off, and because of the stylistic cues, even though this is a slightly larger watch here with the diver, I would say when you look at them, I don't know which one reads as visually larger because the numbers are very close, and again, I think they're also offset by the design, a little bit sleeker, more compact kind of visually. And then here, of course, a bit busier, a lot going on, more leaning into the cutting edge of design and contemporary design cues. So you're going to have here a flat sapphire. Well, they both have sapphires. This is a flat sapphire versus this, of course, that nice, beautiful box dome sapphire. But you get the flat sapphire. Both of these are going to have inner anti-reflective coating. Here, the bezel click is going to be bidirectional, and it's 72 clicks. And man, it is a masterclass of tactile engagement. I do prefer I don't know about visually, but in terms of the tactile engagement to my fingertips, this is an even better, more fidgetable and satisfying turning experience there than even the dive watch had, which was not too shabby. Again, just wiping off some of my fingerprints here, then to dust off anything, any lint from the cloth there to wipe off. Now, screw down crown, beautifully signed. Here you're going to get crown guards as well. So again, more leaning into that modern function forward aesthetic. Instead of the 90-15, you're going to have the 90-75 Traveler's GMT, 42-hour power reserve, 4 hertz sweep, so 28,800 vibrations per hour. Also, still going to get that display case back. It might be worth it for them to eventually develop, I would say, a custom rotor. I think if they're just going to coat it or paint it, don't do that. But I think they could do like a really cool engraved rotor that I think would, suit the aesthetics of those main plates and everything on the backside a little bit more, just to, make it as impressive as it is in terms of its performance. I think it could look the part and it could get away with it absolutely. Now, it does have this cool aqua blue gradient sunburst style with the date at 6 o'clock, color match date disc, which is great, applied indices, or even seeing some inner bevel work there on those indices, polished hands, Loom, Swiss Super Loom Nova BGW9, as well as GLW9. So very cool. You're going to have a bit of a two-tone tonality there. Versus just the standard BGW9 for the diver. So, with that said, let's actually get these on the wrist and see how they wear. Okay, as you can see on my 7.5-inch wrist, or 19 centimeter in circumference wrist, this thing fits beautifully. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more angular and dynamic there, but versus on this side, you're going to see something a bit more familiar, a little bit more flowing and organic. But man, these are just gorgeous watches. Of course, if I get my wrist a bit too close to the camera lens, it's going to just make the watch seem a little bit larger than it actually is, because you're seeing the sides of my wrist kind of fall away. But when I keep my wrist nice and low and then just tighten up the frame here, you guys are going to see that it showcases the sides of the watches, or the sides of my wrist, which are going to show more of the bracelet. It's going to make the watch seem a bit more centered. Same goes for here. Check that out. So very, oh, look at that. Say, this is why we dust them off. All right, but yeah, these are just absolutely gorgeous, guys. The level of attention to detail. Look at the hands up close, the indices. This is just, again, I feel like, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but I'm not saying not to the same level, right? But it's just in the same vein of, let's say, a Grand Seiko before they really blew up within the US market. There's just those little details that were overlooked. They were always there, but they just weren't popularized yet, right? They weren't sought after. People weren't seeking out their products to experience them. And I will say, Wise, they do something that's again, not the same, but just a similar vein in terms of, these are just super impressive. And again, Grand Seiko designs were quite polarizing, and some of them still very much are. Like, the most Grand Seiko-y watches are also some of the most controversial ones, right? Like, the ones that are more vanilla and kind of do everything, people love those too. But then, of course, once you start getting into some of the more complex case architecture, some of the wilder, aesthetics that they have in terms of what they're willing to do with angular facets and interesting shapes and complex finishes, there's a lot of similarities here with this brand. And, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't do my best to articulate that during this video. But look at that diver. Out of the two, what are you leaning towards? I think these are two great ones to compare, because look, even aesthetically, again, you have something that just feels very familiar, but still quite fresh. And then you have something a little bit bolder, especially in this particular colorway that just is doing so many things differently. It's, it's more dynamic, but at the same time, maybe slightly less versatile. What do you guys think? So with that said, we'll get these off the wrist, set up for some Loom shots, the light transition, and closing thoughts. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. Yes, a lot of Loom, a lot to like. You guys saw the day Loom was clean and beautifully executed, even down to additional facets and contouring on the handsets, as well as those applied indices. Now, one thing I always do like to work in is going to be a bit of low light transition, because you're not always going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to find yourself coming out of buildings, walking underneath overhangs, or just hanging out underneath the shade of a tree. So it is nice to, with these colors, textures, and finishes, render-like in less than optimal lighting. And look at that dial on the diver coming to life. And then, of course, that beautiful dial, so vibrant on the GMT. Fantastic. And these watches, guys, they're not over designed, they're not over the top, they are aggressive in what they do. And, you know, one is a bit more subdued in the diver, but then in the right lighting, it just comes to life in terms of just the extra attention to detail that you're getting here. Nothing was done by accident. It's all very deliberate. And, you know, I think they really nail it. Of course, again, if you do want either a more lively and vibrant colorway for the diver, or a more subdued colorway, or more traditional colorway for the GMT, those options are there for you. But, you know, I think it's nice to kind of see the juxtaposition of the two kind of approaches within the same brand, and even the same model family of the Adamascus, you know, product lines. These, oh, man, guys, I could just look at these all day in this type of lighting. My goodness, look at that. Look at these dials. They are just beautiful. Okay, so, you know, again, they share things like these 20mm lug widths, the 904L stainless steel construction, the beautiful, you know, high polished complex brakes in between that, and beautiful brushing. But they do things different. I mean, look at these two watches. They look very, very different. They are quite different, whether it be the layout and kind of the roadmap of the way that they transition in between their different lines and curves and finishes, or just the overall vibe here. I think they both nail it. And again, really, it's not to compare these two, because I think you could easily and maybe should have the diver and a GMT from this brand, because they're that special. Especially, I mean, under under $1,000. Yeah, well under $1,000. It's under $2,000. You should still be thrilled for this watch. Again, I know not everybody thinks of Miyota as this really high-end movement manufacturer, but don't forget, guys, Citizen was founded by both Japanese and Swiss investors. I mean, Miyota is also a sister brand to LJP, Le Jour Perret, and people are paying big money for those movements that share, again, some movement architecture with their sister brand. Of course, a bit more upscale. And then again, also in terms of the marketing, not just the spec, there's a fair amount of marketing and value within things being Swiss made, which enables them to be, you know, COSC certified and, you know, meet a certain level of standard. But I mean, on paper, bullet point per bullet point, these are very impressive. They're probably just lacking a bit of that extended power reserve you might find with some of the LJP movements, as well as, of course, lower level of special finishing. But for a watch like this, from a brand like this, you know, for these sporty pieces, you don't necessarily need to do too much in the way of decoration. And, you know, again, I would say for these, the only thing I could think of that would really add anything would be, hey, possibly going for a more, a deeper taper. You know, maybe down to a clean 16 millimeters. And then you have the clasp be, you know, closer to 18, 17, 18 type of thing. Because as they are right now, the clasps are about 20 millimeters, you know, give or take 0.2 or 0.3 millimeters there. So yeah, I think a little bit more of a taper, as well as, you know, if they did want to ever go more upscale with the movements, that could be wonderful too. But yeah, I mean, these just are awesome the way they are. And I'm really surprised that I just don't see more people talking about these. So let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit like. And if you're already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.